What's going on, guys? BladeZilla here, and today we're taking a look at a real cool one from Shirogorov knives. This is the Neon R1P, and if you guys have been following the site for a while, I've been kind of alluding to the fact that we need more neons. They've been a knife that they come and go in kind of small batches, and finally we got a neon in. Not a neon zero, but you know, darn near a neon zero in terms of value. So really excited to talk about this one today. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a cup of coffee, cold beer, Coke, soda, water, whatever you're into. For me, coffee. Today it's 7:30 in the morning, so that's my drink of choice. As a reminder, guys, before we get going on this one, check out BladeZilla.ca. That's my site here in Canada. Lots of good stuff, lots of Shiros, just added some Pokillos. F95 blade shows, ProTech, Microtech, CKFs, all kinds of stuff, Koenigs, the list goes on and on. So there you go. And I just added some Rocksteads as well. So a really cool new line for me that I think are really great, very well made knives. But hey, we're not here to talk about that. We're not here to talk about BladeZilla. We're here to talk about the Neon R1P. The Recon 1 variant. Now, if you guys have followed the channel for a little bit, or just Shirogorov in general, you will have recalled the Quantum R1P, which was released, I believe, last year, possibly the year before. I can't really remember. It's all kind of a big blur. But, you know, at least 12 months ago, they launched the Quantum R1P, which had, some laser etching, lots of cool features, Chromax blade, etc. And at the time, that was a really good value knife. It still is a really good value knife because whoever spec'd it and designed it, kind of knew what they really wanted in terms of kind of the internal milling, etc. And they hadn't really done a Quantum Ursus line with that full internal milling in full tie. And then they obviously launched a couple variants of that knife in a purple, did they do a gold? I can't remember. I think there was a purple or a blue and a gold. But anyway, great knives. I think I still have a couple of them floating around. Anyway, everybody's been asking for neons, okay? And, you know, from a mile away, I could have said, hey, guys, make the same variant of that Quantum R1P, but throw it on a neon. And keeping the price point down, like that's the hardest part to do when you're doing a lot of these kind of special edition collaboration, whatever you want to call them, pieces, because everything has a cost. And I broke this down in that other video. So, for example, external milling. That is a substantial upgrade versus laser etching. There's a cost to that. I have a couple different variants of some externally milled knives, and my understanding, you have to buy them in monster batches. You don't just order 10, right? So that's an E-Knives. You will have seen that knife on the channel. This is an E-Knives Quantum. And then I also have the Monkey Edge Frag, which I show on the channel a lot. These are laser etched, or not laser etched. These are externally milled. Whereas the R1P Quantum was laser etched. So a lot of people really liked these variants more, simply because, well, they look, I think, a little cooler, and you can get some cooler design patterns, etc. So, and we're going to show those, so I'll keep one of those out. But long story short, R1 Productions, or R1P, whatever you want to call it, Recon 1, they adopted that same style. They milled the R1 pattern into this neon, which is the first of, I think, 3 home runs for this knife. Okay, so that's number 1, super cool. Number 2, they kept the milling on the inside. Not a ton of milling, but there's still the neon, the same level of milling that you'd find kind of on the Neon Light. Okay, so the Neon Zero has deep internal skeletonization, whereas this was more modest, very neon, Neon NL, Neon Light, pretty standard. Okay. So they maintain that while having that external milling. Number 3, and you could kind of, there's no particular order to these randomness of these comments. the backspacer, okay? As far as I'm aware, and I'm probably wrong, I haven't seen a backspacer on a Neon unless it's the Neon Zero. And there's rules to every, or exceptions to every rule, but in terms of a production Neon, the Neon NLs, the Neon Lights, they've all had standoffs. This is very reminiscent of the F3 Allotex knife. That plain, flat back backspacer in titanium. It's gorgeous. It's stunning. It's not an empty space here anymore. So to me, the fact that you're getting externally milled in the titanium, you're getting the backspacer while retaining some level of internal skeletonization, and to throw on top, you get a name brand blade in LMAX instead of Chromax, which a lot of people don't realize. Chromax and LMAX are very, very similar. Very, very similar. They're essentially a toss-up between the two for exactly what they are. But I'm not here to talk blade steels. LMAX, it's more of a household name brand. People know it, which is awesome. So you kind of get all these things working for this knife in once, and now you've got a Neon at, you know, I don't know the exact price point on this one. I think it's around $750 US-ish table. It's punching well above its weight class. It's got the backspacer and tie. It's plain Jane, which I love. You still have the milled clip. Everything about it, you know, multi-row bearing system. It's essentially a scaled down F95 with a little ergonomics change. It's one of, if not my favorite, Shirogorov just everyday carry EDC knives, because it's the size of a bug out. It can go anywhere and do just about anything, and it can take it. And to show you that, I actually have a Benchmade bailout, which is just a hair bigger than a bug out. But look at the size difference. They're almost the same. So it's not a big knife, but it's still a 3.5-inch EDC kind of carry, which is awesome for just about everything. So let's start off with some measurements. I know we're probably 5 minutes in, and I usually do this in the first couple, but let's do some measurements, and then we'll kind of go down the road and kind of get to some other stuff. So 7 5/8 overall length to the end of that backspacer-ish. Well, 7.5 probably. 3 3/8 sharp. 3.5 to the center of the choil. Handle on it is coming in at 4 1/4. And then that new measurement that people like, just because those blades swing out and kind of extend sometimes on certain knives, they want the closed length. So why not do a closed length? Yeah, 4 3/8. Well, somewhere around there. 4 3/8, 4 1/4, depending on how much you're pinching your eye together. In terms of size, well, let's grab a couple. I don't plan on this video being super long today, but we'll do our Quantum. There you go. I use the Quantum in a lot of videos. That's the Monkey Edge Frag, single row bearing Quantum, internally skeletonized with a Chromax blade. Real cool one. I've had that for a few years now. We've got an Astrum, which to me is a scaled version of a Neon, but in a liner lock configuration. And I've said this for now, since the Astrum came out last year, I said, hey, in a production capacity, make me an Astrum Mini. Because that to me is a liner lock Neon, and I just think that would be such a match made in heaven, because the Neons, as I've mentioned, is one of my favorites, and the Astrum is also one of my favorites in terms of execution, size of blade length, and just how they put it all together. It's a gorgeous knife, so I would love to see an Astrum Mini. Don't know if that's in the cards. I've seen no full productions or full customs, no custom divisions, nothing like that. So that's just a guy can dream kind of a thing. We'll do a Hattie half tie, which is basically the equivalent of a big Neon, a maxi Neon. And to show you that, actually, I have another F95 here. This is a F95 Bears pattern in the bronze colorway, which is the same as that Hattie. It's just a little bit more modern, I'd say. Thinner blade, a little more, it's got the captive pivot, etc. But why I say the Neon is the mini F95 is because look where the flipper tabs are. Right? Flipper tab, forward of center, but it's not like the Quantum. Once I put my Quantum away, of course I need it. It's not like the Quantum, and the flipper tab on the Quantum is built into the ergonomics of the handle. So to find that, I find, and the Quantums are all like this. I find that a lot of people like the Quantum for this reason. It's easy to find that flipper tab because you just touch the front and roll your hand back. I'm in the camp where I like having a little notch in front of the flipper tab, and your finger just kind of falls in here. The jimping acts nicely. And for me, especially if your hand is a little bit shorter, I find it's just a little bit better. So anyway, there you go. So that is the F95. Let's keep on rolling down that list. Put that back in the center. What do you guys want to see next? We can do the Stellar. There's the Stellar. Full production M390 Stellar, great knife. And that's a tweener in size, as we know. Seen this a number of times. So 85 mil, 95 mil. I think, I don't know if they're 75, I thought they're 80 mil. But anyway, there's your three sizes. Stellar's a great knife. A lot of people, when they first get into Shiro, they start us at a Stellar just because it's in between everything. And my personal opinion, there's room for them all. And if you like Shirogorov, which most people end up liking them, they end up with half a dozen of them, one way or the other. It's a sickening disease, buying Shirogorov. I always tell people, it's a slippery slope. Just be prepared. If you don't see yourself going down that road for the next 12, 18, 24 months, it's a little scary because they're just so well done. Beautifully made knives. If we want to go into some small guys, we could grab our fat. Oh, I gotta do that on the mic. Oh, God. There's your fat strip. Same size as the fit strip, just thicker, beefier, bulkier. It's been putting on the winter weight. And maybe I should grab a fit strip here and start alternating that into some of the videos because they're great knives. Underrated knives. A lot of people ergonomically have actually preferred the fit strip. Whereas I personally like the fat strip because it's just a very perplexing design in that it's a 5 mil thick blade in a small knife. It's just not like, it's not a knife on a drawing board that makes sense, but in hand it makes a lot of sense. And that's why I think it's just a quirky, cool knife. For the regular person, the fit strip makes a lot more sense because ergonomically it's the right size. So whatever that means. And then let's grab the big boy. Scott Kukalaksa. Shirogorov collaboration piece. And every time I bust this guy out on a lot of the Shiro related content, I always say, like, look, this was Shiro's first integral knife they ever made. First being the key word. So you wonder, when is there going to be more? Integral, if you're new to Shiro or new to knives, integral meaning that it's one block of titanium versus two sides put together with pieces in the middle. This is one block of titanium. So you can't do any internal milling, typically, very little, or the stuff you can do if it wants to focus. Come on, man. Is very minimal, like the serial number. It's kind of at an angle that it's done. Really cool knife. I did a whole video on this one, and for those in the know, this is a must-have in your collection. Just Loxes in general are so cool. Classic knives. And then we'll grab a an S Savenza 31, S31 large, Thunderbird Gear edition, glass blasted with S45 EN. A direct competitor to my website, but that's cool because the owner is awesome. So there you go. Really great knives. Size comparison wise, a lot of people And you know, why don't I do a small Sebenza just so we know, because we're comparing small guys. The small Sebenza is just a little bit smaller. So the small Seb, as people know, it's a very small knife. So there you go. The Neon occupies a really nice size space. So there we go. There we go. Let's put that guy away and we'll go back to the Neon. And I apologize if we're running long here. The goal of this one is to be less than 20 minutes, so we'll see. So where do we go from here? Well, first of all, if you guys are going to take these apart, which I encourage you to do, a Neon like this, an R1 Neon, there's going to be a certain number of these available. I imagine they would make a fantastic user because of the materials. You know, plain Jane tie, milled clip, easily serviceable with the right tools. You could use kind of a penny to take these apart if you wanted to. Something softer than the pivot hardware itself. You could use a screwdriver. I wouldn't suggest it. You're always best off to go with a Shirogorov tool. So you get the right bits. And you know, once you start taking these apart, servicing them, looking at that multi-row bearing system, they're just gorgeous knives to play with. You can kind of tune them up tightness-wise on the pivot. Make them slow, fast, anything in between if you wanted to. If it was important to me, I like just nice and smooth, controlled, and just gorgeous right out of the box. I will say this, the beauty of the clip design on a lot of the Shirogorovs is the fact that you look where the clip's actually putting its load, its weight, it's onto the frame itself versus the lock bar. So right there when I was struggling to open it, it's because I had a finger sitting on the lock bar. So if you hold these, right, on the lock bar, they're never gonna open. But if you transfer the way you hold it to that clip, and you hold that clip, and you flick that flipper, it comes out because all of the load is pushed right onto this frame, which is kind of hard to see. If I can kind of show, see that little triangular dip on the pivot or on the clip? It's angled right onto the frame, not the lock bar. Really nice. It's also attached internally by a little screw on the inside here. Another nice feature of typically the Neon Zeros, right? It's another high-end feature. Versus the F3s, they'll kind of attach it externally with a screw on the outside. The blanks of the hardware on the non-show side as well, which look really well done. External bend in the lock bar, very gorgeous. They aren't individually numbered as far as I know, but then again, I haven't opened this up. There will be a production serial on the inside, which is pretty meaningless to anyone other than Shirogorov that can kind of decrypt that. And then we should see somewhere here MRBS. I can't see if it says it on the inside here or if it's up somewhere else, but usually it's on the inside here. I wish I could see. Yep, MRBS just behind that flipper tab. Multi-row bearing system, so it's their high-end production bearing system on an entry-level Neon in terms of price point with a tie back spacer, external milling. I'm telling you, this could easily be 900 bucks. You know, you throw M390 on it, it could be $1,000 bucks. Just in terms of the configuration, it ticks all the boxes. Right now, to me, this is every year there's a knife in the Shiro lineup that maybe this is something I need to do more focus on, is the best value knife. You know, it's like last year I did a 2024 knife of the year, which I picked the Shirogorov Astrum, and beautiful knife, love that knife to death. This currently, unless something trickles out, I know the Alatex F3s have been punching well above their weight class because of the materials itself. Alatex is great. Elmax on the blade, that flat back, tie back spacer that's on that F3 is just a thing of beauty. They've basically taken that same formula, and instead of Alatex, they give you milled tie. And you just go like, I don't know how they do this. At this price point, like, it just doesn't make any sense for a flipper like that. Yeah, they do it. And they just, I don't know, the market definitely is willing to pay more for these. And I feel like right now, And it could change. Maybe this video in the Shiro world goes bananas and they sell out quickly. I don't know. They wouldn't be buying them from me. They're obviously an R1 knife. Even though I have a couple in the store, but primarily they float through R1, right? It's their exclusive. So I think at this point in time, these are one of, if not the best value knife of the year for Shirogorov at the midway point in 2025. I don't know how you beat it for the price that they're selling it at. And that could change. Maybe they do a liner lock neon. Maybe they do a mini Astrum, and all of a sudden they knock it out of the park at the same price, and they add features, they add all kinds of stuff. Great, and we'll have that conversation if that happens. But at this point in time, this is just such a reliable, well-designed, well-executed, well-priced neon. It's gorgeous. And what was it at the Blade show? They had a Neon IX, I think it was called, or is it XI? I think it's IX. And they put a mini quantum swivel clip on it. And I had heard at Blade show that the auction price on that, $35,000 US for a neon. They haven't done a neon in a while. And it was like a Damascus tie and all that. Like, it was a very well done, well executed knife. $35,000, which tells you the design itself is desirable. People love that knife. People love the neon. And you know what? You're not carrying a $35,000 neon. That's a little crazy. And if you do, all the power to you. That's mad respect. But a knife like this, maybe you buy a Neon Zero and you want to keep that nice and pristine and flip it and gorgeous and look inside and take it apart and tune it and you love that knife. This is the one I'd carry. You're not going to scrape any anodization off. You're not rubbing off laser etching. It's just well done, well executed. It's perfect. It's everything you asked for. So to me, that's the value knife 2025 so far. At the halfway point, I'm filming this in June, early June. So, Blade Show was just this past weekend filming this. I'm only a few days past, but still. Who knows what could change in the next 6 months, but it's hard to beat this. And I love the pattern. Like, no one's really talking about that, or I'm not talking about it. It's a cool pattern, A lot of people, okay, you get the E9s. Oh, yeah, it's EK. I don't want to be married to EK. Okay, great. R1, it just looks cool. And they stand for a lot of cool stuff. They sell great products. Great people. Why not? Not digging at EK. They also great people. So, but I think I like the R1 pattern better. Does it hold is it better or worse than the Monkey Edge frag? I don't know. Let's pull that out and take a look. The frag pattern is just a classic kind of look to it, right? Super classic. So I don't know which one is perceived as better. I love how the neon has the Shiro bear kind of hidden in it in the back, whereas on the Monkey Edge frag, it's kind of front and center behind that pivot. Either way, I like that it's not on the blade. I like that it's on the handle. Both great. Both timeless. You blur your eyes a little bit better. One looks a little more camouflaged than the other. So I think they look great. I think it's well done, just super well done knife. I'm super pumped on these. And it's been a while since I've had some neons come through. They just seem to be hard to find lately. So I'm just super pumped on that. What do you guys think? You think this is a home run? You think this is one of the value knives of the year for 2025? You think these are going to go gangbusters, or do you think they're going to sit on the shelves? I personally think they're going to go quick, but who knows? I'm 50% of the time, I'm right every time, as Ron Burgundy once said. All right, well, I guess I'll show you in hand here as well. I'm an extra large glove, and I've got just enough with my little pinky finger that got stuck in a gate. I've got enough room for another half finger. It's a great size. anyone from, you know, small, medium, large, extra large fits this. It's just a well done design, period. Not exclusive to this Neon R1P, but just the Neon in general fits just about everyone because of how laid back the handle is, how it sweeps back versus kind of pinching in the end where you've got to be inside it. So it's a great carry. Okay, I think I talked about everything. Talked about the handles, talked about the back spacer, the blade material, the MRBS, multi-roll bearing system. Talked about how it's a flipper, F95 comparable, real cool design to the blade. Bears on the handle, and it's got a milled clip that's attached internally. It's a home run. I'm telling you, it is a home run. If you guys have any questions, leave them below. I think we're going to wrap things up there. If you're on the YouTube, which is where this video should be, throw a thumbs up on it. It helps the video, it helps the channel. Otherwise, check out BladeZilla.ca, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Threads. I think that's all of the socials for now. And like I said, if you have any questions, just throw them in the comments and I'll get to it. And otherwise, have yourself a great week. Enjoy it and tell me what you think of this Neon. How sick is this knife? All right, guys, have a great week. Peace.